Hey gang! Today is the day both of the computer parts I have ordered have come via the mail, and I am about to open them and put them into my computer today for a very long-awaited and nice upgrade to my system. So we've got the RAM stick here and the CPU. And I realized after ordering this stuff I hadn't picked up any thermal paste for installing the CPU. I'm hoping it comes packaged with like a little sleeve of thermal paste. If not, I'm gonna have to make another run out to the store, like 15-minute drive to the nearest computer parts store and grab a little bit of thermal paste for myself, because that is a necessity. But anyway, to start off with at least, we are going to open up these packages. Alright, so for the RAM, it looks like this could just be a little tear job. Yep, nice and easy. I got, let's see, yep, that's everything. I got a G-Skill rip jaw, because that's what I already had. An 8GB stick I already had in my motherboard, and I don't know exactly what the correct thing to do is. I decided to go with exactly the same thing just to make sure that they match up, they mate up properly, because I'm pretty sure like if you go with other brands and stuff, you could have some issues. I don't know. Again, I'm not a guru, I just try to go by what I see on the interwebs. So this is an 8GB DDR3 stick, and it looks pretty sweet too. So I'm going to have 16 gigs instead of 8, which will probably blow my puny little mind, having double the amount of RAM I'm used to, because I've had 8 for a couple of years now, and I've gotten very used to that, so I'm very excited to upgrade. And now for the CPU. Careful with knives, kids. Don't cut yourself. I actually never cut myself while using a knife. It's kind of impressive. My little brother, on the other hand, not so much. He's a very bright young man, but has a very poor track record with knives and tools and things of that nature. He's very much book smart, but has made some poor choices with how he uses his blades. He has a few scars. He's 7 years younger than me, and I'm pretty sure he has a lot more scars than I do, from whittling and opening and cutting and all that jazz. Anyway, peanuts! Woohoo! Yay! Alright, what do we got? Come on, baby. Oh, it's not even in like an official box. So the type of CPU that I needed to order is no longer being produced anymore. I needed something that was still compatible with my motherboard because I didn't want to replace that either. So we have an Intel Core i7 processor. It's a 2600 3.4 gigahertz, 8 megabytes of cache. It's an LGA 1155, which when I went into the store and asked if they had one, the guy kind of gave me a funny look. Apparently it's a few years old, but I was able to find one on, so it came in like this packaging. I was able to find one on the Amazons, and you could buy them used, but I wasn't super keen on that. So let's see. Oh, so the actual CPU is here, and then it comes with the fan and the heatsink, which is really nice. Can I get you out of there? There we go. So it's an Intel brand fan and heatsink. I feel like this is what I already have, but I guess since I have a new one now, it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and upgrade that as well with a brand new fan, new life cycle and all that. And you can see the heatsink, the base of the heatsink already has some thermal stuff on it, but that's kind of just the bare minimum. Thermal paste is the main reason why when the Xbox 360 first came out, it got famous for the red ring of death. Basically, it did not have enough or high quality thermal paste, and the CPU would fry. I had one that got the red ring of death, went into brick mode. I took it apart, put some new thermal paste on there, and it actually still kind of worked. I think the damage has been done already, so it didn't really live too long, but it did help. But anyway, here is the beautiful new little CPU. Aww. Very nice. So yeah, it did not come with an actual tube of thermal paste, So I am going to need to run out to the store and grab that, and then we will get the computer opened up. We will pop these new components in, then we'll fire the baby up. If you guys never see this footage, then you will know that I've done something horribly wrong and borked my computer, which let's hope that's not the case. So I'm gonna go grab that thermal paste and we will be right back. Alright guys, we're gonna see how this angle works out for actually opening up the case. I did a little bit of reading on the stock Intel CPUs with stock thermal paste that comes on them, kind of the 3 strips you see there. And for the most part, people were saying it's fine to just stick with that. A lot of diehards were saying, no, you gotta clean that stuff off and put the Arctic thermal paste on there instead. But I'm not gonna be doing any overclocking or anything like that, so it sounds like for the most part, it should be fine to use the stock. When I open this up, I'm gonna see what I had on there previously and see if I went with that or not. Hello. So this is super dusty. I've got a handy dandy can of compressed air because I have not opened up this case in a long time, which is really bad of me. I'm a bad nerd. You should open this up and dust it out every once in a while because the fans can get clogged up and all that jazz. Wow. It is dusty as all get out. So I've got my my GPU here, the graphics card, CPU's down in there, and then my original stick of RAM is right here. I'm going to be able to install another one right next to it. I have this little grounding wire wrist strap thing. I'm not going to ground it because I don't really have anything nearby that would allow me to do so, but I'm at least going to clip onto the case here, so if I do have any static buildup, it'll kind of distribute evenly throughout the case and all that. And this is all metal, so I just have it clipped in there. Just a nice little safety thing to do. Now these Intel heat sinks, they come with these little, what do you call these, posts I guess that you can pop in and out. They're a little tough to use, but it's not too bad in the long run. I haven't actually taken it out before, so it could be a bit of an issue getting this old one popped out. So first I'm going to undo the power couplings here, just to be on the safe side. I do have the whole case unplugged, but it never hurts to be a little extra careful. So I'll take these power guys out, and that's the big one out. Those things are a bugger to take out. And I'm going to disconnect the fan power as well. And now before I start actually taking the components out, I'm going to go ahead and do the little air can, so I don't want too much stuff floating around once I have the actual contacts exposed. There's just 2 little clips on either end you have to open up first, line things up, pop it in, and then as soon as you push it in far enough, I believe the little side clips will engage, and you'll know you've done right. So now let's get this old heatsink and fan unit out of here. Each of these posts, the little piece that you push down on to engage them, it can be put into a locking position. So I need to go around and twist these into the unlock position. And they do have a little spot for a screwdriver, thankfully, but I don't need it. And then pops out super easily. So here is the used up thermal paste. It's all grody like. Seems like it was distributed okay. Just set that to the side. And thankfully, so the little housing for the CPU here, nowadays most motherboards have this really nice and easy unlocking mechanism. Nice and easy unlocking mechanism. Got this little lever here. You can just pull that back to open things up, and then pop your CPU in and or out. Shabam! So here is my old i3 CPU. The thermal paste doesn't seem like it had the best bonding there, so that makes me a little concerned, but I never overheated as far as I could tell, so we're probably not in too bad of shape there. So that's still a very usable CPU. I may hold on to that for something else. Alright, so here is the new one. You gotta make sure you're not touching the contacts underneath because you'll have a bad time. There are 2 little notches on either side on the base so you know how to align it. And it just drops right in like so. Put the cover back on and re-engage the lever. And I'm just checking to make sure it looks like it's lined up well. I think we're golden. So now I'm going to pop in the new heatsink and fan unit, and I just want to make sure that the little power cable is close enough to where it needs to plug in. Other than that, it should be pretty much straightforward. You just got to clip in the posts. Everything feels pretty well clipped in, and then I'm just going to twist the top on these to put them in their locked position. You don't want stuff moving around once you're up and running. There we go. So I'm just going to give it a little jimmy. It feels pretty solid. So now I just need to get those pieces plugged back in, and once we fire it up and the CPU starts warming up, it should kind of melt down those 3 strips of thermal paste we saw on the base of the heatsink, and then that liquid thermal paste should distribute and hopefully get a nice even cover. So let me put everything back together, put the lid back on, turn the sucker back on, and we will see if I have done horribly wrong or not.
Whew. Alright guys, we are up and running again. Thankfully everything booted up and all that. And I'm using this free tool called Specky from Puriform Company. And it can show you in great detail all the stuff you have going on in your PC. So we've got the Core i7. It's running a little bit hot. Hopefully it's because the thermal paste hasn't, fully acclimated yet. But we do have the full 16 gigs of RAM now, and then there's all my other mumbo jumbo if you're interested. Alright guys, so I lied. That actually was a very bad temperature to have the CPU at. I think it was because I was using the stock thermal paste, and the stock fan is not amazing. So I have gone and bought an aftermarket or third-party cooling fan. I didn't record the installation of it because I had no idea what I was doing. I had never done this before, but you can see the results here at least. So I have ARK running in the background right now because I'm about to test it. And that's a fairly intensive game, and I'm only up to, the low 50s degrees centigrade. When I was idling, I was around mid-30s degrees centigrade, so almost exactly half of what I was idling at with the stock thermal paste and heatsink fan. So I'm very happy with what I bought. I purchased the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, which is apparently a very, very popular option. It is under 40 bucks, so pretty cheap. It's a little bit loud. I guess I'm going to use this recording to test and see if it picks up on the microphone too much. But it's a very nice upgrade. I'll at least put a picture of it up on the screen here so you can see what I'm working with. It just barely fits in my case, but it fits, it does the job, and as you can see, it is running much, much cooler. When I was doing some testing with the stock stuff, I was getting up to 90 degrees centigrade, which is danger zone, do not go there, death and despair await ye kind of temperatures, which was not very good. If you get much higher, it starts throttling your CPU to prevent it from getting any hotter, and if things get really bad, it can just shut down in order to save itself and not get fried. So I definitely had to drop a few more bucks to preserve my investment, and I'm very glad I did. I'm really happy with this Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo product placement. So anyway, that is how things are looking right now, and I'm gonna go and test out a little bit of ARK and see how things go. Alright guys, here we are in ARK, and as I was hoping, things are running so much better, and I've been able to bump up the graphics settings a little bit so things are looking better, and I'm feeling fine and fancy free. So even when running ARK, like full on playing ARK, I'm still only hitting about 50 degrees C on my CPU, and the usage is going anywhere between 10 and 20%. CPU capability, which before with my little old dinky Core i3, I don't even know what the temperature was getting at with that thing because I never thought to check. Oh gosh! But it was definitely using up like 90% of my CPU before. So things have been improved. Hello, all the bugs. Things have been improved, and I have some exciting stuff on the way for you guys. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. I just want to mention a couple more thank yous before I sign off here. Thank you, first and foremost, to my wonderful, beautiful patrons who made this upgrade possible through their financial support via Patreon. Thank you so much, guys. I love ya. And also, thank you to all of you for being patient with me as I deal with these technical difficulties and spend a little bit of time getting things set up right and working well for you. I know that my ARK content has been missing lately, so I really appreciate you guys sticking around, being patient, and waiting for it to come back. So now that we're up and running, expect all the ARK things. Alright, thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoyed this unusual video for my channel. I enjoyed making it, and I will see you guys next time.